Hey, how's it going? Oh, regular enemy. This should go smoothly. Fool! Are you serious? Ladies, gentlemen, and tarnished of all ages, just when you think you're out, they pull you back in. The they in this case referring to the bosses of Elden Ring. Every time you put your controller down, confident that you have killed every boss the game has to offer, you find out just a little bit later that maybe you weren't quite right. Every corner, every frickin' corner in this game has something waiting to be found, and so I am here one more time to help you find some of them, with another collection of 8 bosses that you don't want to miss in Elden Ring. Today we'll be starting in the Altus Plateau region, and I'll be going in order of when you'll see the bosses, and then within each section I will explain how to get to each boss before giving you a warning and then showing the boss themselves on screen to talk about the fight that they have and why I think you should do it. That way, if you want to just go off and experience the bosses yourself, you can skip around through the video without seeing them. Without further ado then, first up today is found right at the start of the Altus Plateau. From the top of the Grand Lift of Dectus, immediately east is an Everjail. You get there from the top by heading to the south side and following downwards until you reach the Everjail itself. Unlock it with a stone sword key and face your first boss of the day, who upon death drops the Godfrey Icon Talisman, which boosts the damage of charged skills and spells, and thus is pretty good in a number of builds that you could go for in the game. The boss then held within the Everjail is Godefroy the Grafted, a relative of Godric the Grafted, the first Great Rune boss of the game. And this fight is essentially just round 2 of the first phase of the Godric fight. He has most, if not all, of the same moveset, but with doing more damage to match the later game area that he's found within. This fight is pretty fun and cool to see again once you have more of a setup together than you'll probably have before you exit Limgrave. Secondly, we'll be up in Mount Gelmir near the top. From the 9th Mount Gelmir campsite, Site of Grace, turn back around and head across the bridge, sticking to the left side along the cliff wall until you reach the cave at the end of this area. From the Site of Grace inside the cave, simply head forwards until you see a hole in the ground and jump in the hole. Do a 180 at the bottom and you'll see a boss fog wall. Upon death, this boss drops the Jar Cannon Ballista weapon, which is freaking cool. So if you haven't done it yet, this one is definitely worth doing for that alone if nothing else. The boss itself then is Demi-human Queen Margot. This boss works quite differently than any of the other Demi-humans, by which I mean a few seconds into the fight she says fuck it, langs her staff at your face, and then goes full fist fight mode, going far more into the Demi side than the human side for a fight that is unique even among these similarly made creatures within Elden Ring. Third then is located between the outer walls of Lane Dell. From the outer wall battleground Site of Grace, immediately south down the path you will see an NPC alone in the middle. I'll be honest, yes, this is a main path, but both me and various people that I know who have put a lot of time into this game just didn't walk along this specific path to get into the city, and as a result, if you don't walk here, you'll miss that this random NPC turns into a frickin' boss. No point beating around the bush as I showed him in the intro. This one is a second go at literally Margit, the first main boss of the game. Not one of his relatives, not some fancy ghost, no, it is Margit again, just here to teach you a lesson, I guess. You may be thinking, oh, I missed it, I've already finished the game, so I assume this won't happen anymore. No, you didn't miss it, he's still there. He actually, for whatever reason, never disappears until you encounter him. This is just a super funky encounter in the game that somehow wasn't experienced by loads of people, myself included, until recently. As well, I guess it's worth noting that he doesn't have a boss health bar appear at the bottom of the screen, but obviously he is a boss. He is the same person from the beginning of the game, he has the same moveset, and he has a boss type of health bar. It has the amount of health of a boss, even if it doesn't show up in the boss health bar slot. Upon death, he drops the Viridian Amber Medallion +1, which raises your maximum stamina. Fourth up, we have a boss just outside the outer wall of Lane Dell on the south side. From the outer wall Phantom Tree, Site of Grace, head back through the door to the Great Bridge and take a hard left, jumping over the wall. From here, you will see a crater full of mystical energy, and as you approach, a boss will take form. Upon death, this one just drops some crafting materials and limited use items, nothing crazy, but the location and the boss itself are fun, so to reveal what's hiding here, we have a Fallingstar Beast boss. I've talked about the big version of this guy hiding up at the top of the mountain before, but this one exists too down here, with his own little dedicated crater boss arena off of the beaten path of regular travel. These guys are really neat, like gravity oxes made of meteorites with insectoid mandibles. I really just love their design, honestly. They are the perfect mix of creepy and cool. Fifthly, today is going to be within the outer walls of the city, up by the Hermit Merchant's Shack Site of Grace. Make sure that it is nighttime and then head northeast up the hill to the very back corner with the skeleton snails. Upon arriving here, a boss will drop on top of you. When the boss dies, they will drop the Twin Bird Kite Shield, which has the cool effect of raising your attack and defense when you are low health. You gotta love a good passive effect on a shield, don't you? This boss itself then is one of the Deathbird enemies, a weird giant skeletal bird baby with a walking stick. These things are quite the interesting design, and while this boss is found in multiple places, this is one of the most out of the way ones, especially considering it has to be nighttime when you come to this specific corner of the map as well. Sixth, then, we have a boss located in the sewers of Lanedale in the Lanedale Catacombs dungeon. To get to here from the underground roadside Site of Grace, head out of the door and down the ladder that is ahead to the left. Through here, turn right and safely drop down from the pipes, watching for the death lobsters in the area, and head through this hole in the wall. Take a right in here to find the Site of Grace at the start of the dungeon. As for how to solve this area itself, take a left past the boss door and down the stairs, past the coffin, up some different stairs, and then take a right before the dead end. Then when you come across the fire trap, you want to hide in the alcove through its attack path and go up these stairs that are within said alcove. This will eventually loop back around to a lookalike of the first room. Don't be tricked, things are different. Take the same path again until you get to the fire trap hallway. But the fire trap will be down instead of up in this version. Walk up to it, trigger it, and ride it to the top. Inside, take a right to find a new pathway. Follow it to a ladder, drop down the ladder, and walk out to find yourself right near the lever required to open the boss door of the dungeon. Upon defeating the boss of the dungeon, you'll get yourself the Bloodlord's Exaltation Talisman, which is incredible for anyone who uses the bleed status. As a result of that, any of you who have gone out of your way to make a good bleed build will probably already know about this boss. However, for just about anyone else, this place is so far out of the way that it is easily missable. This boss itself then on the inside is Esgar, Priest of Blood. This humanoid enemy, flanked by two blood dogs, wields the Reduvia dagger and uses blood sorceries. He is a unique enemy, there is nothing like him in the game. If you let the group overwhelm you, you will get destroyed by bleed applications very quickly, but if you take out the dogs quickly, then Esgar himself is quite easy to handle. Seventh then, moving on to the Consecrated Snowfields area, if you haven't been here before, you need the Howling Tree Medallion, one half of which is found in the village of the Albinarics just the east of the Site of Grace by a man hidden in a pot. And the other half comes from the tippity top of Castle Sol at the north of the mountaintop of the Giants, bring it to the Grand Lift of Rold and be brought to this new region. Once in here, from the inner Consecrated Snowfield Site of Grace, set the time to night and then have a look at the caravan immediately to your southwest. The caravan is there at all times of day, but something changes at night. What changes is who is defending the caravan. Upon death, this boss will drop an ancient dragon smithing stone, which makes it quite worth it in itself. And the boss itself, without further ado, is the Knight Cavalry Duo boss, as they are guarding the caravan together. You can fight them together, which is quite a hard experience, or you can even split them off and take it one by one a bit safer. But either way, this is the only place you can find two of these guys working as a unit, which is pretty neat. Finally, today we have the boss located at the Minor Air Tree in the Consecrated Snowfields. From the Ordina liturgical town Site of Grace, simply head to the east up through the hills until you reach the tree itself. From here, turn back north past the tree to a tiny little boss arena. No point in hiding it really for this one, I guess, but the boss here is a Putrid Avatar, one of the rotten tree guardians. This one is particularly out of the way and isn't even directly beside the tree itself like most of these are, and even more interestingly is what it drops upon defeat. A Wondrous Flask mixture that increases your damage with successive attacks, which is pretty cool, and the second, Rupturing Crystal Tear, making you explode after a few seconds. What's cool about this, especially this, is that there are another one of these dropped at the Minor Air Tree in Western Liurnia. You can equip both of them at the same time in your flask, and the self-damage doesn't increase by doing so. However, the outgoing damage does increase. While not something that you can really build an entire playstyle around, this is just goofy and fun. So why wouldn't you want it yourself? And that just about does it, everyone. At this point, I think I've covered most of these strange, unusual, extra cool, or unique out-of-the-way bosses around the map, but there is always a chance that there are some that you know of that I don't even know about myself. If there are any bosses that you think are worth making sure people get to do that I haven't shown, even through this series so far, feel free to leave them down below and share with each other. I've been Cotton Dinosaur from RageGamingVideos. Like if you like the video, subscribe with the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.